Okay, now that you've done the workshop, there are maybe some questions that could be answered. So, for example, what makes a destination appealing? So, why do some customers choose one destination over another? There are quite a variety of reasons. It could be the destination itself. Some people prefer to travel to hot climates. Other people don't really mind where they go. Others like to go into cities for short breaks. Other people rather go away on a longer holiday. Maybe you've got friends or family living somewhere, and you're going to visit them. So there are different. So it's the destination itself. Maybe you don't like certain countries or certain areas, and you wouldn't necessarily go there on holiday. Then, of course, it's all about the accessibility. Some people don't really mind having to change planes twice and take a 3-hour bus ride to get to their destination because all they want is to be remote somewhere and not bump into tourists every 2 meters. For others, for example, if you're traveling with children, you just want to get there quickly, get there from your nearest airport, get to the destination very quickly from on the other side as well. So it's all about accessibility. Also, if you drive, are you driving? Are you flying? Do you have to take a ferry when you're getting there? And what it's like when you're on the other side? Is it easy to hire a car and then drive to the destination, or is there maybe a transfer as well? Then it's all about the cultural appeal of the destination as well. So again, for some people, if you have to be really careful, and some people don't want that. They want to go somewhere where the culture is quite similar to where they've come from. Other people don't mind experiencing new cultures. So again, is it culturally appealing to you? And sometimes people say, oh, people in this country don't like the Germans or British or the French, so we're not going to go there. But again, how do you know unless you've been there? Because people can always have an off day as well. And then the destinations, features, and attractions. And again, it depends what you're into. If you like hiking, you will go somewhere with big out in the nature and maybe in the mountains. If you like kayaking or water sports, you go somewhere where you can do that. If you have a family, you might prefer all inclusive because it's just much easier when you can maybe put your kids in a kids club for a while you relax by the pool. So again, it depends what the destination has to offer as well. Um, and then, of course, there's a massive variety in destinations as well. So you could either, if you look at the UK, you could either travel domestically within the UK, you could travel over to Europe, or you could travel worldwide. Um, and then you've got rural versus urban destinations. So if you're someone who likes open space and wants to get away from London, for example, or from any other big city, maybe you would go into a rural area or coastal areas as well. Or maybe you like city breaks, so you would go into the more urban areas. Then, speaking of coastal areas, you could also go to central areas, so away from the coast. Maybe if you think about France, go into the mountains. If you think about the UK, go into maybe the Lake District or somewhere like that, away from the coast. Or of course, and to some of the seaside resorts we have over here. You then have destinations that are purpose-built or naturally occurring. So you might have resorts, you might have theme parks, places like that, or you've got places where you go because again, you've got the mountains, you've got the open space, you've got natural attractions, or you've got man-made attractions as well, or you've got historical or modern destinations. Again, if you think of going to the States, a lot of the destinations are very quite modern. If you think of going to Tokyo, maybe some of the areas there are a bit more modern. If you think of, France, if you think of maybe of Paris or London, you might think more of history, and if Rome and Italy, especially if you go to Pompeii or somewhere like that, is of big historical significance as well. Okay, now it's all great for me to tell you that, but what I like you to do now is to have a specific look at Spain, because Spain is a traditional destination, especially for, again, for the Northern Europeans, for the British, and also for the Germans and Dutch. And why is that? Why are we attracted to Spain? Look at all these aspects like natural, cultural, man-made attractions, access, and other tourism infrastructure like hotels, restaurants, and stuff like that. Who visits the country? So where do the people come from? What problems has the country been facing, and how has it been dealt with? How has the country dealt with them? And again, I've set up a discussion forum, and I would like you to discuss that and comment on stuff that the others have put down as well. So please do these exercises. It shouldn't take you more than half an hour, 40 minutes, and after that you can go to the next lesson. And these are some of the resources I used. Welcome to today's lesson for Introduction to Tourism. The topics for today are characteristics of tourist-generating regions and also the private sector involvement in tourism. When you go onto Moodle, those lessons are under lesson 6 and 7, and the quiz for the private sector one is on the lesson 7 Moodle page as well. Now, for today, the agenda is first of all aim and objectives. Then we will define tourism generating areas and its characteristics. I then have a workshop for you that deals with the appeal of a destination, and then I also have another workshop for you to do, which is all about the attraction of Spain and why do people go to Spain and where they come from. Now, the aim and the objectives. The aim is to discuss the importance of tourist-generating regions, and the objectives are to define what tourist-generating regions are, to evaluate their characteristics, to give an overview of what transit routes and what transit routes are, and also to discuss what makes a destination appealing. Now, the first thing we need to do is to define tourist or tourism generating areas. And basically what it is, it's the area of origin of the tourists. That means that it's the area of their permanent residence, and it represents the source of demand and the market where the major marketing function of the tourism industry are based. So basically where you live and where you hear about certain destinations through the media, certain marketing campaigns, and where you basically make your decision where you want to go and why you want to go to certain places. And there's also mainly large concentrations of population in developed countries are the main generating areas of international domestic tourism. And the reasons for that is that people like us who live in developed countries have more time, more disposable income to spend on holidays, and we have more the motivation and the desire to go on holiday as well, because after work that's what we want to do and we want to relax. And as you know, as we all know, we also have the opportunity to go away on trips for business. So again, there's another reason there why a lot of us from developed nations go on business trips into other countries as well. Now, the question is, what are the characteristics of these tourist generating regions? Well, first of all, they provide the push to motivate you to travel. So people might tell you about somewhere where they've been and you really want to go there. Obviously, we're very heavily influenced by marketing and by marketing messages as well, and how destinations are portrayed and delivered to us. Obviously, it's also from where we as tourists, or from where tourists get their information. They research the information to find the holiday. You make the booking from your tourist generating region, and obviously you also depart from that region as well. And you depart obviously to your tourist destination, and the tourist destination is the sharp end of tourism that hopefully benefits from people coming there, but also is very highly impacted by tourist behavior, and other things as well as to how much money is spent in the economy. Before you arrive at the well, there's one other thing, obviously, with a tourist destination as well. Obviously, the destination is the reason that tourism exists. So if there was a place you didn't want to go to, or you can't go to because of certain political reasons, that destination is not that place is not necessarily a destination. But also, obviously, the destination is distinguished from everyday life by cultural, historical, or natural significance. So there is a reason you go there. Either it's to lie on a beach for 2 weeks and just relax, or also to take in the food, the drink, the people, and its natural resources as well. Now, before you get to the destination, and where you go is your transit route, which is basically the route you take from your home destination to your destination, and this is where your journey basically starts. And there are different geographical elements to transit routes, and LIPA has a model, and I just would like to show this to you. So if you look at this model, it shows you of someone traveling with somewhere, but it has two destinations as well. So basically, this is your tourist generating regions from where someone would leave. The transit route 1 is to go to the first destination of the holiday, and then so let's say you fly from Heathrow to New York, for example, and then you stay there for a little bit. And then your transit route 2 would be then if you then had booked to go down to Florida for a week or two. So that would be then from going from New York to Florida would then be your transit route 2. And then your transit route 3 is then going back from Florida to London Heathrow or wherever you're flying to. Now, obviously, if you have more destinations within your holiday, the more transit routes you would have as well. So if you took a road trip, for example, you would have quite a few transit routes within this road trip as well, because you potentially are going to see more than just one destination or one or two cities. Now, what I want you to do now, or once you've finished with these slides, is to think, why do you choose certain destinations? Why do you go on holiday where you go? What sort of destinations do you like? With that, you would look at their characteristics and give examples, and you would, not just look at their natural and culture, but also maybe accessibility or the sort of holiday that you like. I've put a wiki up in lesson 6, so you can use that, and I will have a look at them once you're done with them as well.